After a satisfactory level of competency is developed shooting the ball, starting with the ball in a player's stick, the next logical progression is for players to have to catch the ball before they shoot. This is an extra step that can throw off even the most experienced players who are wide open and already thinking about shooting before ensuring that they've caught the ball. For the catch and shoot drill, begin with a line of left-handed and a line of right-handed players on their proper floor sides a few steps back from the shooter positions. Start with the coach as a passer in variation number 1, which ensures that players are getting a high quality of passes the majority of the time. The coaches should have all of the balls and stand at one of the shooter or crease positions in opposite ends of the floor or the same end, depending on numbers. One coach passes to the line of righty shooters, and the other coach passes to the line of lefty shooters, which is variation number 1A. Passes can either be swing passes, skip passes, which are shown here, or adjacent passes, depending on the capability of the players. In cases like this, where you have an abundance of righties and very few lefties, where possible, you should arrange the drill such that for every lefty that takes a turn, 2 or even 3 righties take a turn, which will enable all players to get roughly the same amount of reps in the drill. The first player in each line should be ready with their stick in the triple threat position. The coach then passes to the first player in that line, who attempts to catch and shoot the ball as efficiently and quickly as possible. For beginners, coaches should give players a second attempt at a catch if they miss the first pass, continuing the drill until all players have had several opportunities to catch and shoot. Coaches should give players a demo of how to efficiently catch and shoot prior to the start of the drill. In the ideal scenario, players catch the ball perpendicular to the net in the midst of a crow hop with their arms fully extended. That way, all that's left to do is transfer their weight forward and follow through to the target. The most common error for beginners is in resisting the urge to twirl or cradle their stick before shooting, with best practice being to keep a quiet stick with very little movement, which can be the difference between getting the shot off in a game or not. You also want to make sure that beginners aren't what we call stabbing at the ball, reaching with their arms and trying to snatch it out of the air. Instead, they should have the patience to wait for the ball to arrive, absorbing it with soft hands, which will allow the ball to be quickly redirected into a pass or shot versus having to re-establish the triple threat position. In variation 1B, coaches have the option to work with an individual player and continually feed that player a high volume of passes as they work on their individual technique using repetition training. This is the type of drill that a coach might do with a small group of players after practice, or in a practice with low numbers. Coaches should get players to help them reload every time the ball supply gets low. In variation number 2, players get the opportunity to pass, and despite passes perhaps being less accurate than from coaches, not every pass in a game is going to be perfect, and players need to get used to catching and shooting a somewhat errant pass. For less experienced players, you can start with the ball on one side only and then the other, which allows for more repetition in either the passing or shooting phase of the drill. In this instance, the first player in the line with no balls and all other subsequent players in that line should be ready to receive a pass from shooter to shooter. This player then attempts to quickly and efficiently catch and shoot the ball, which is variation number 2A. For intermediate and advanced players, both lines can have balls except for the first player in one line, with the ball carrier first being a threat, then passing to the opposite shooter for a shot, which is variation number 2B. Coaches should also be ready with balls, perhaps giving players a second attempt at a catch if they miss the first pass from the player in the opposite line. Variation 3 is the most game-like situation, which is the same as variation 2, except players on both sides start at the mid-boards, one line with balls, run to the shooter positions, and pass and catch the ball using soft hands, building up from 50% to 100% speed. Variation 4 is the same as the previous variations, except after catching the ball, coaches force players to drag for a shot, face dodge, roll underneath, or otherwise turn the corner and walk up the middle. As in most of our shooting drills, the remaining variations include players being instructed to take a certain type of release point, adding a dummy screen to work on screenshots, reacting to rebounds, and lastly, adding competitive elements like a game to 7 between the lefts and rights, or playing the no drops, no misses game. All of which I describe in more detail in the step and shoot stickwork drill. Keep in mind that all of these catch and shoot variations can be done as either a set shot with their feet planted, a shot on the run, which is not shown in this video, or a mid-range quick stick, which is also not shown in this video. Set shots are preferred for beginners, advancing to shots on the run as they progress, whereas more advanced players can be free to pick and choose their shots and release points. At the end of the day, if players can't catch the ball at least 2 out of every 3 attempts, coaches should consider regressing back to either a catching drill like partner passing, or shooting drills that start with the ball in the player's stick, like the step and shoot stickwork drill. Otherwise, a warm-up drill like horseshoe shooting.